What's something completely false that your parents told you as a child? Mom and I moved in with my now dad. I was around 4 years old. Christmas rolls around. He had this light up skeleton tree topper in lieu of an angel. He takes it out of the box. I asked why it was a skeleton. He got this horrified, shocked look on his face. Oh no, we must have forgot to poke holes in the box last year. I thought my angel suffocated and we were putting her dead body on the Christmas tree. Cried for hours. Oh freak, that's the funniest one in this whole thread. No matter when he and your mum got together, this right here is the moment he became your dad. If you eat too many M&Ms, your tongue will permanently change color. I think my mom told me this to deter me from eating a lot of chocolate, but honestly I would have loved a blue tongue. So when I was whatever age you become potty trained and we were going on vacation to somewhere outside of the US and my mom told me that diapers were illegal there and that if I didn't go to the bathroom in a toilet, like grown-ups, my parents would be arrested and go to jail for a long time. It worked and no one went to prison, at least as far as I know. They told me that if I keep on eating that much yogurt, my teeth will get huge. I got so pissed when I realized it wasn't true. My grandmother didn't like me wasting bread crusts, and she also thought that all little girls want curly hair. So she told me, eat the crusts of your bread, it will make your hair curl. I totally believed her, but I really wanted straight hair, so I made sure to never eat the crusts. My mum told me this, and I'm a guy, and I have no idea why she thought I cared what my hair was like. My dad had me convinced that if I were to ever look at my own butt, I would explode. Natural 20 on persuasion is a dangerous thing. My old man has had a beer belly for years and used to tell me and my brothers that he birthed us. Did we believe him though? Absolutely. Your dad's a seahorse. As a kid I used to play with my belly button a lot lol, and my mom told me that the knot in my belly button held my skin together, and if I keep playing with it, I'll untie the knot and fall apart. It freaking terrified me, but it worked. Not a single, but a string of lies. Bear with me. Lived with the family in Japan for a year at the end of the 80s. Time comes to go back to the home country, and the number of toys I amassed as a kid in Japan was not small. They were also very cool toys, them being from Japan and all. Parents promise we will take them all with us home, all the while putting them in strange big black bags for garbage. But since their freight is so expensive, they said, we will simply put them on a ship in order to save some money. They will be home before I know it, they said, but only after we arrive, since ships are much slower than planes. Got home and could not stop asking them, when will the toys arrive? I want to share them with my new classmates. They were very cool. After a few months of constant nagging, they sit me down and say they have to tell me something. Proceed to explain that, unfortunately, the ship sank on the way, along with all my toys on it. I was so miserable, and retold the story to all friends, for a couple of years. Many years later, during a family dinner, I said, do you remember when all my toys from Japan sank? It was so sad and unfortunate. They explained it was a lie all along, and that, yes, those were indeed garbage bags. TLDR, FML. My dad told me that the windshield wipers would count the raindrops on the windshield, and when it reached 1 million then they would wipe the rain away. If it was raining harder they went faster, because it reached 1 million faster. Lol, classic dad trolling. If you're not good we are taking you to the children's home. Real talk, as Adapt is my brother, and I got this. You had no family, and no name, until we gave you one. And if you don't behave, we will give you back to the agency. We were adopted as infants, and to me, the threat seemed 100% credible. Did lasting damage to my ability to trust. I read Treasure Island and asked my older sister what scurvy was, and she lied and said it's when pirates and sailors spend too long at sea with no women and become gay. I didn't question it because I was like 10 and apparently dumb as shit. Then we were watching a TV show about the colonies and how scurvy was rampant and killing people. I was really confused at how scurvy could kill, and even more confused when my mom said oranges prevent scurvy. You put the oranges in your bum to block out the pirates from getting in there, obviously. The butt pirates. A bottle of rum or an orange in the bum to keep them away. I grew up in an area where slugs destroyed many a yard. As a child, I found them to be utterly adorable and didn't understand why everyone didn't like them. My mom told me that slugs loved salt, that it was their favorite food. She said when I fed them salt, they sometimes wiggled a happy dance because they loved it so much. I happily went around the garden with a salt shaker, killing who knows how many slugs. I was maybe 4 to 5. It's horrifying how cute that must have seemed. Asked my mother why I didn't have a willy like my brother. She told me she picked me up by it when I was a child and it fell off. I cried for about 3 hours for the pee-pee I never had. That when the beehive hairstyle was popular, some women ended up dying because black widow spiders nested inside of them. And then they always wondered why I hated spiders for the rest of my life. That farmers spray painted the backs of sheep for identification, so they remember their names. This is only half true. Yesterday my boyfriend enlightened me on the fact that farmers actually paint the underbellies of the male sheep so they know which females have been mounted. Childhood equals ruined. When I was about 6 years old, my dad convinced me that turtles grow fur under their shells. Fast forward to the 8th grade, I'm in my U.S history class and the topic of turtles comes up, and I explain to my teacher that turtles have fur. He then proceeds to turn on the projector and Google do turtles have fur in front of the whole class. They don't. Never been so embarrassed in my life. I told my dad this story a couple months ago. I'm 17 now, and he still laughs uncontrollably about it whenever I mention it. My mother had a few McDonald's sacks since I was obsessed with them. Every day, before my father would be back from work, she would put what she cooked into the sacks and would place it outside the door for my father to pick up. I was fooled every time, man. How would I know McDonald's had no soup? Santa was created by Satan worshippers to take the focus away from Jesus. I wish I was kidding. I was scared of lightning. Then my dad told me it's just God taking pictures of me, so don't be scared. So I used to run to a window whenever there's a thunderstorm and pose for my picture. Edit. My first ever edit gold. Thank you, kind stranger. Listen. My dad is still cracking up about it every time, and I still can't believe he did me like that. When I was about 6ish I asked him how birds could sit on power supply lines. Used Google Translator for this. Hope all of you know what I mean. Without getting electrocuted. My beloved wanker of a dad said, cause they got special feet that make them immune to it, instead of just admitting he didn't have a fucking clue. But I believed, and never second guessed it, until it came up in physics class. The teacher asked us, and I raised my hand. Proud of knowing the answer and thank all the gods for the teacher not picking me. I was shooketh when I heard the actual truth. This man almost ruined my reputation, self-esteem, and confidence. He's great, though. That blowing really hard would turn the stoplight green. They were watching the other light and had us start blowing when it was yellow. My dad once told me and my brother that the guy who worked at Out Corner store liked to kidnap kids and eat them like the witch from Hansel and Gretel, and that some people had to eat people to survive, so the government gave certain places a pass on that. So as long as he took them from the store by law he could eat them. He told us a similar story with a church about an hour drive away. Said they did human sacrifices and would just pick someone who walked in once a day and kill them, and it counted as religious freedom. I believed both of these way longer than I'd like to admit. Turns out he just thought it was funny to force us to go into those places, and apparently worked as a quick punishment. Wish I was kidding. Edit. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. Computers will never be important. They're just a fad for nerds. You'll never make it in life without a man. My dad said that to me in front of my grandma. It was really embarrassing, but when we left she hugged me and whispered, don't listen to that. You don't need a man to be happy. I'm still single, but I'm also better off than most of my family. Your parents don't always know what's best for you. Mom and I are going upstairs to flip our mattress. You need to stay down here, because if you come upstairs the mattress could fall on you and hurt you. What does this mean? Edit. Wait, now I get. When I was in kindergarten I asked my dad what the 2 rows of little nubs on our dog's belly were. He said they were basically the snaps on her fur coat, and when it got cold outside the dog would snap them together, sort of like buttoning up a coat against the cold. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, and was deeply disappointed when I figured out it wasn't true. that if you eat a watermelon seed, a watermelon will grow inside your stomach. I ate a few of them in one bite one day and was freaking out about it. I sat there devastated wondering how I'm going to explain the disaster to them. Did you know that from when it was discovered to when it was declassified as a planet, Pluto did not make a full orbit around the sun? Thank you so much for watching this video Gao. If you liked this video be sure to leave a comment and a thumbs up below. This is Teddy the Bear signing off.